today. Temperature is not much warmer though. Still pretty chilly out here in central Pennsylvania. Odd. We had snow last week, kind of a late snow in early March. And then a few days later, it was 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's what, 34 degrees, something like that, 36 degrees Celsius. And then 2 days later, it drops by 40 degrees and we get below freezing, and pretty crazy spring weather here. But it's beautiful and sunny, very bright. As you can see, I'm squinting here. I got the hat on so I can keep the sun out of my eyes. Apologies for this stream, but I set one up and then it wasn't there. What's going on with YouTube? And so I had to set up another one. So pretty much talking to myself right now. Although it looks like a couple of viewers just tuned in. So thank you for that. Let me set this up so you can see all chat, live chat. There we go. So welcome to the program. Yeah, a few things to talk about today. If people want to discuss them, there are a few different issues popping up here in the U.S. and in South Africa. So always a topic to discuss. Yesterday, the word went out pretty fast. Hey, is that Henry Swanepoel? Welcome to you. Yeah, maybe if I get the sun to my back, it might be a little bit better. Should I turn around and do that? But I like that branch above my head. It looks really cool. But yeah, if I turn around this way, let me see. Will it be better or worse? I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know if that's any better. Maybe it's a little bit worse. Who knows? Let's try this. How's that? Now I get the sun this way. So the only way to do it is to go that way. And then you got that darn dumpster there. So that's not going to work. You have a dumpster over there. So let's just go back this way. I'll just deal with the shadow in my eyes. You guys, you're not paying much for this stream. It's free. So just deal with it. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to those tuning in now. Yeah, it's a beautiful, clear blue sky. Absolutely stunning weather today. Lovely. And no, it's interesting because Pennsylvania is not one of the best states when it comes to air quality. We have a lot of particulate in the air, but a lot of wind here in the Cumberland Valley blows out all that crap. And so it's not like where you get a heat sink or something like that and it traps all like you get out in Los Angeles. So smog isn't really an issue, but there are plenty of irritants from pollen and also particulates from coal burning and that sort of thing. Wow, the word's really not getting out today. Just 23 people. Yesterday at this point, we already had over 100 people, and we wound up with about 700 watching the stream live at the same time yesterday. Interesting. Did I piss off some of the ANC people with connections to YouTube so they could silence the channel? How's it going out there? Anyway, yeah. So I just published a couple videos today. One of them reading the comments from the Drakensberg Boys Choir, who paid tribute to their founder, Dr. John Tungay. They put a message out, recognize him. I also contacted Chris Pappas, the mayor of Howick, and asked him if the city would do something to recognize Dr. Tungay and his amazing life. And Mayor Pappas told me that he'd just been interviewed by their museum director and sent me a short clip of it, which was quite nice. I've asked for permission to air it. I haven't gotten it yet. And then I made a tribute song last night to Dr. Tungay, and two of them. And I sent one of those versions to our moderator, Erica. Also, I sent one to Mayor Pappas. And I sent his widow, Paula, the song as well as the lyrics for it. So I don't know if she'll find it useful or helpful, but and hopefully it doesn't bring painful memories, but hopefully it will make a difference. So breathable air. Our air is just polluted. Yeah, well, look at all the cancer in the Vol Triangle, just how unhealthy people are in the Vol Triangle. It's pretty frightening when you think about it, folks. That wind is picking up again. It wasn't here for a while, but now it's back. Yeah, the Vol Triangle is pretty dangerous when it comes to air quality, and lots of cases of cancer from all the industrialization there and poor air quality and poor environmental controls. Just watch one, just clicked on the new video, second new video appeared. Well, thank you for that, for RVC, for finding all three videos. Appreciate you doing that. Also, some administrative notes. Maze, who was a viewer on this program, apparently still watches the program, has been posting nasty stuff about me on the channel. She was still a moderator, despite her horrible treatment of me and of some of the people on my channel. I'd left her as a moderator, understanding that she's going through difficult times. And she chose to attack me on videos, which many people pointed out. And so she's now been removed as a moderator. That's not a privilege that someone so abusive and insulting deserves. So she's no longer a moderator, and the account she was using is now blocked from the channel. I don't block many people, but quite frankly, went out of my way. She posted a comment full of lies, claiming that people were supposed to help her and I never gave them the information. That's a complete lie. She knows not what she's talking about. So if she wants to be a bitter Betty, that's her problem. And I don't wish her ill will, but she certainly deserves it based on her conduct. But whatever the case is, hit the road. You want to behave like an adult and come back and issue an apology, then you're welcome to come back. But beyond that, you're not welcome here. I'm tired of coddling people who are disrespectful and rude. I'm not 22 and I don't have to put up with this bullshit. So if you're going to be disrespectful and rude and attack me with no basis and foundation, you can just, foot sec. And so there you go. All right. So, all right. What do we got to talk about here? Well, I don't know if you saw this, but the United States Federal Communications Commission has banned all non-US manufactured routers. Folks, that's a huge deal. Now, before people freak out and say, oh, Trump is a protectionist, Trump is doing this. No. The Biden administration banned all routers manufactured in communist China. This is an addition to that now. Existing routers, probably made by Linksys and others that are made in Taiwan or elsewhere, will continue to be made and they remain under license. So good for them. But any routers, new routers produced, which means eventually that market will disappear for these Asian countries, must be produced in the United States. And that's quite a significant change. That is going to have a big impact here because I don't know we have the capacity to build those routers in America. We've outsourced all this production. It's going to have to come back to the shores of America very quickly. But the Federal Communications Commission identified vulnerabilities from these routers are built into them so that our networks are vulnerable and people's personal identifiable information is compromised, their identities are stolen, and national security is put at risk. I don't think South Africa has fuel for 2 to 3 weeks, to be honest. Now, that might be what they have in storage, but when it comes to the national stocks, that's what I think they're talking about, the National Strategic Stockpile. They don't even have that much. They only have 8 million liters, and 8 million barrels. Is that right? 8 million barrels. I think it's 8 million barrels. And South Africa burns through 612,000 barrels of oil per day. 600. Well, they only produce about 150,000, about less than 5,000 from natural production, and the rest from Sasol's coal to oil conversion, the rip and roll process, or whatever they used to call that. Anyway, so they can't produce most of the petroleum that's needed on a daily basis. It's imported, and so if you take away 430,000 barrels a day, you have to import 8 million barrels. Is going to last maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and it's all gone. And that's assuming the oil is actually there. It hasn't been stolen by these BEE tenders, these corrupt patronage tenders that have actually got the contracts that were handed over to them by corrupt officials, one of whom got millions of rand as a payout and never been punished for this. So we're just assuming that what they tell us is true. There's actually 8 million barrels of oil in the National Strategic Stockpile. I wouldn't even hold my breath on that. I suspect that it's clear being shadow banned, not getting notifications anymore. Yep. Well, what you have to do, virtual or vodka mata, you have to go occasionally and click the unsubscribe, refresh the page, click subscribe, make sure your notifications are turned on for your device, and make sure notifications specifically turned on for your YouTube app. Otherwise, you won't get them. That's what they do. And every one of my videos says send it notifications to all subscribers. That's a block you can check. If you don't want people to know about it, you don't push it. But every time by default, it's pushed. And so, yeah, they are hiding content. You're right about that. Well, nitrate fertilizer is also a problem. That's correct, because it's petroleum-based. People aren't exactly digging up bird guano anymore for their fertilizer, which was a big thing. Also, they're not digging up the graves and crushing the bones of soldiers from the Napoleonic War and using it for fertilizer. How gross is that? Europe's population surged in the 19th century because they dug up the bones of those who died in the Napoleonic Wars, ground them up for fertilizer. I don't mean to laugh, it's pretty sickening. But those graves are desecrated, and those bodies are all long converted to, fertilizer, which produce more food so that Europeans could grow their populations. So pretty crazy stuff. Anyway, routers are now banned. I also see that Darlene James from Action SA is filing a case against Gate McKenzie, claiming intimidation and harassment, social media harassment. So Gate McKenzie now has something else to contend with. So I saw that also came out there. And there's plenty of other things going on. So, all right. What do you got here? 139 people. A lot smaller audience than yesterday, isn't it? Isn't that amazing? I don't see, are any of my mods putting the link out there in the groups? I don't know. I see any mods here. Charles is here. I don't see Hendo. Maybe he's busy. I'm a little later than I was yesterday, so maybe that's part of the problem too. But anyway. Well, it does kind of sound like cannibalism, but it's a true story, folks. If you study agriculture, you'll know this story. Yeah, until the use of petroleum became common to make fertilizer, we relied heavily on bird guano, off specifically many different locations, but one of them, of course, is are the islands off the coast of Namibia. And for millions of years, birds went out there and hung out in the islands and crapped all over them, and stuff was meters deep. And that's what they dug up. It was incredibly rich fertilizer, and they dug it up. Yeah, Henry knew about it. Okay, cool. Okay. Oh, and Garrett posts the stuff. Okay, thanks for that. I don't know if you have all the access to all the groups, though, Garrett, but thank you. Someone just got the link. Okay, cool beans. Charles came across it by chance. Yeah, so yeah, that's how they do it. And when we have success on the channel, they try to stop it, and that's how they do it. It's unfortunate. Why would you keep something from people? YouTube makes money off every time they play an ad here. They make money. Why would they not want to do that? Anytime I send my super chats, they get 30%. You'd think they would want to have people see these things, but you know, who knows? At least we're here. You know, it's not like the old days where if you sneezed, they would accuse you of violating the community standards and take your channel away. So I did a video about John Tanguay, and then I also did a video about Ramaphosa's racist dog whistle of talking about Boss and blaming private companies for the actions of the ANC. It wasn't private companies that kept this land from being restored for 27 years. It was the African National Congress. With a mixed of guano with dirt. LaCroix, as far as I know, the stuff was applied sparingly on top. So I'm not sure how they did it, to be honest, but that's what I understood. I've never relied on bird guano, although I will say that I suppose I have really relied on bird guano. I should be fair about that. We had chickens, and they like to poop a lot, and they tend to do it inside the hen house. And so I'd have to go in with what's that thing called? It's like a flat blade, and it's on a long pike, and you push it. It's for scraping. People use it to scrape cement and scrape tar off the surfaces. But whatever that's called, I can't think of it. I use that with a long handle, about 2 or 3 meters, and I would scrape all the chicken crap off and scoop it out into buckets, and we use that on gardens. Yeah, so we just put it directly on the soil. Yeah. Oh, you're very welcome. Happy to cover the issues. Yeah, scraper, but that's not really the real name for it. There's another name for it. Take chicken coops, droppings for vet. Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did, Henry. That's what I'm talking about. Yep. Yeah, on the farm. So we had pigs, we had chickens, we had turkeys, rabbits, ducks, goats, Jerseys, Guernseys, and the Holstein, as well as quarter horse, an Appaloosa, a Morgan horse, and a Shetland pony. Yeah, when I was in high school. So yeah, that's what I used to do. Welcome from the Eurozone. Okay. Good to see their tricks will start. Yeah, so that's going to be a problem, as Garrett identified. It's a serious problem. And you do it with your chickens as well. Okay, cool. Yeah, I also this morning, it's been a busy day for me. I went to bed at 3:30 after completing my notes for the Office of Refugee Resettlements director and her deputy about my visit to Maryland. Also an update on the family with the heart attack in Salt Lake. The surgery was on Sunday. The husband is recovering. The surgery went very well, and they anticipate going back to Boise. But again, they have no money. All their money has been burned because the refugee agency didn't go collect their belongings from the hotel room, which I'd asked to happen. And the hotel charged them for all the stuff every day that they were in there, even though they weren't there. So I conveyed that to the Office of Refugee Resettlement. They made no promises, but they were disturbed by hearing that. And hopefully they can investigate and maybe come up with a way to restore their funds, or maybe find some other funds or donations to help these people. But I want to thank everyone in the Wyatt Army and SWAT2, or whatever the South African ladies call themselves, Antoinette's group, who both jumped in when I put the flare up and asked for help. And so the day that it happened, we had someone there, brought her a change of clothes because she had no clothing, brought her some money, got her some food, and then got her a place to stay while she was in Salt Lake City. So that's just amazing. What's this? The roundtable get together regarding podcast regulation was super infuriating. Freedom of speech is absolutely a farce. Yeah, I didn't see it. So yeah, well, they can pull that crap all day long, but people outside South Africa can say what they want. They have no way to govern it. YouTube and X, Facebook are not South African companies, and they're operating here. So, you know, unless they restrict access and not let you get out of the country, then what are they going to do about it? People can say what they want to say. Yeah, free speech under Section 16 of the Bill of Rights of the South African Constitution is guaranteed. Freedom of expression, freedom to impart or intake information is guaranteed under the Constitution. The ability to criticize the government is guaranteed. Among the few politicians that actually support that position publicly, I'm sure that the Freedom Front Plus does, and the DA, but amongst other parties, one of the few that actually speaks up on this is, of course, Gate McKenzie. Despite his history of a rapscallion, he has stood up for free speech, and that's encouraging to see that there are politicians that actually know what the Constitution says and believe that people should be allowed to criticize the government today. Folks, what I've told you all along is the expropriation of that compensation is not about land restitution. It's not about getting whitey, although it's becoming about getting whitey. It's all along been about a tool to repress the population. Let me explain why. Expropriation of compensation is not about land. It's about property. Property includes your bucky, your apartment, your condo, your land, your house, your jewelry, your Krugerrands, your furniture. That's property. Your bank account, your retirement account, your medical insurance, that's all property. They can repossess all of that with no justification whatsoever. Now, under this unconstitutional, immoral, and racist law that's out there. But it won't be just used as a racist tool. It will be used to pressure anyone who deigns to criticize the government of the day. That's the purpose of it. And whether it's the ANC or MK or EFF or DA that's in charge of the government, there'll be people who abuse this because they've delegated that authority down to local level. So local city mayors can steal your property and don't have to justify it under this law. And this is in violation of the Section 25 of South Africa's Constitution. It is not legitimate. It is immoral. It is illegal. It is unconstitutional. And it's also a direct violation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, for which South Africa is a signatory. Therefore, this government, which likes to talk about its sovereignty and the rule of international order and how we should all follow international law, can't even follow the agreements they sign. They also send combat helicopters to sanction Libyan warlords. In addition to that, they also send mercenaries to murder Ukrainians on behalf of Russia. Yeah, this is a government that where hypocrisy is their middle name. Claimants had to choose between land and money. They chose money. It's not about the land. That's a partially correct statement, Meerkat. Many people did. We're talking about people who had urban claims like District 6. Of the 75,000 plus legitimate land claim window from 1995 to 1999, all but about 1,600 of those were solved over 20 years ago. The ones that remain were largely because people wanted the actual land, and the government was not really doing anything to get that land back for them, or that was in dispute, or there were multiple claims by different groups, and it was difficult proving who had the claim. Yes, most people took money because most people don't want land. Millions of Black South Africans don't want to be farmers. Why in the hell would you want to do it? Have you been a farmer? I've been a farmer. Is it fun? No, it's not fun. It's a lot of work, a lot of toil, and it's subject to the vagaries of the climate, the vagaries of weather, the vagaries of government, the vagaries of the fertility of soil, of weevils and locusts, and every kind of perturbation you could possibly think of. And that's even if you're good at what you're doing. So there you go. You can't dig into your pension fund for emergency. How are they going to do it? Well, very simple. They just transfer the money. They have the authority to do what they want to do. Government brought out the pension 3-pot recently. Another way. Well, they brought out yeah. Well, what they're doing with that 3-pot thing is they're allowing people to take money out. They're going to tax you on it now. So they're robbing tomorrow for today so that they have money today because they've squandered so much money. Billions of rand they squandered, trillions of rand they squandered. So that's what's going on there. Anyway, all right. So I have another busy day here today, folks, doing my work here, consulting. After this break, go back to it. But beyond that, I had a refugee who felt he's been poorly treated by Church World Service in Houston, who flew to Washington, D.C. to settle some accounts he had when he was previously in the United States, and asked if he could see me. Well, I've given him a location to come meet me today. It's a 2-hour drive from Washington. I hadn't heard from him as the beginning of this broadcast, but maybe I'll hear from him. But if I do hear from him, then I'm going to have to do that this evening. On top of that, I've got to pack my bags for Las Vegas. I've got to get all my notes together, print out everything, make sure I got the right flights, the right rental information, pick up my car, the hotel address, all that stuff. Get that all ready for the trip, put my stuff together, get all my electronics ready so I can do videos and live streams while I'm out there. And then I've already spoken to folks in Las Vegas. They're waiting for me. They're ready for my arrival. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. And then on top of that, I've also got to put some stuff together for the election, because in May we have an election, the primary. And in advance of that, we have training for our poll workers and for judges. So I've got to get that all sorted out. Yeah, they changed the laws to get around the law. Exactly right. Oh, it's always busy for me, RVC. So my Sunday was a nightmare. I did the Stormers game in the morning. After the Stormers game, I did the interview. After the interview, I did the news. After the news, I hopped in my car. I drove 2 hours through traffic to Maryland, met with 25 South African refugees, spent 4 hours with them, listened to their stories, their complaints, answer their questions. I got another scam call coming in here. Let me cancel that. And then I drove back, got back to my house at 10:30, set up my stream for 11 o'clock, went live till 12:30 in the morning, answered some email, took care of some paperwork, went to bed, got up in the morning and went to work on Monday morning, finished that. And then I left here, went to the Veterans Organization, started 50-50 and raised some money. I also checked to see whether the person we offered the job as club manager had responded. She hadn't. And then left there about 7 p.m. and went home, got something to eat, was really tired, didn't feel like doing anything, so took a little bit of time off, played some television a little bit in the background, really couldn't fall asleep. Then I made that song to tribute to John Tungay. We did the Night Owls. The Night Owls, I started at 11 and I finished at 12:30. From there, I answered email. I also put together my notes for my trip from Maryland for the Office of Refugee Resettlement and also updated on the case in Utah, and then answered some WhatsApp questions. And from there, I went to bed at 3:30. I got up at 6:30, prepped for my interview on Biz News, did an interview on Biz News from 7:30 to 8:15, hopped in my car, drove to the work college, and have been working since then. That's kind of how my days go, folks. They just go that way. Now, I don't have to do any of this. I could just move to the mountains and just say goodbye to everybody. The hell with it. But people need help. So I'm trying to help people. According to my case agent, I arrived today when I'm still selling no comms. Do you see why, Varoshka, I say that is a useless portal? It's not something you should even look at unless you're told to put documents there. Do you see why I'm saying, yeah, it's all for no compensation? But apparently I take money for refugees, they claim. Whatever. Yeah, so that's why I tell you just disregard that. My case is not helpful. It just gets your blood pressure up, and it really is not helpful to people. So, I mean, I know some people want to look at it occasionally. That's fine. Do what you want to do, but you're not complaining, Varoshka. But people come here and complain about my case, and they want answers, and I answer the same question over and over and over again. And people should just listen to what I say and not go there, and they'll be much happier. Anyway, so yeah. So to my moderators, if you're scanning comments on videos, feel free to delete things that are marginal. Don't ban people unless it's warranted. And, you probably should let me know when you ban people, because I get people contact me. You block me. I didn't block you. I rarely block people. Although I've blocked 3 or 4 people the past week or so. People just act like fools. It all started with Dogzilla a couple weeks ago. We just got tired of him finally, and he's gone. Oh my gosh. Sorry. This is driving me nuts. I just got a text message saying, my only concern is, do we tell the other candidate? Yes, I sent you freaking emails 3 times in a text message since last Friday. I'm not going to call every one of the board members. Oh, geez, I'm kind of busy. I just told these people that. People don't listen. It drives me nuts. Yes, I know. Sending an email is not an answer. But people are sending me texts asking a question, and I said, look above. I already sent you this. You're asking a question I've already answered, and go check your email. Well, farmers get angry about the fuel all they want. This is what happens when the government sells off your national strategic stockpile to a BE tender as part of a corrupt process. And, you don't have enough to begin with. And you also have not done proper oil exploration. And on top of that, you have allied yourself with bad actors. I'll tell you what, if South Africa were a true friend of the United States and were cooperating with us and not mocking our president and undermining our foreign policy and charging us ridiculous tariffs on our products, I guarantee you this, ladies and gentlemen, the United States government, which is the world's largest producer of petroleum, would probably prioritize South Africa for petroleum shipments. And next thing you know, there'd be plenty of petroleum coming into South Africa from the United States. But that's not going to happen with the behavior of the ANC. They're just going to have to hoof it on their own. So this is what happens. This is what happens. All right. When you have time, you get home, I sent you something interesting via email. Okay. Who is that? Corey sent it. Okay. And is that Chandra? I can't read. They're really tiny here, and it's so bright out here. I can barely see the screen today, guys. Even with the reading glasses, it's hard to see. EWC is the most dangerous law ever written. And now we have dangerous clowns. Look, I saw the video, and it's fuzzy because it was a copy of someone recording it from a television of Newsroom Africa. It sounded like Fikile Mabalo, and a lot of my viewers said it is him. Somebody said it was someone else. I don't know who it was, but the point is that at the Human Rights Day comical rally on Saturday, somebody in the ANC is arguing that South Africans who've gone to America, or South Africans who say things about the government, there should be a law to declare their behavior treason. The only people that have betrayed South Africa are the ANC cadres. They betrayed the liberation movement. They betrayed South Africa for 32 years. They are the ones that are committing treason. Not people who criticize them. They're the ones committing treason. One scandal, one theft, one piece of corruption after the other every single day of the year. Pick a day, find a newspaper, go through every article and show me there's no articles talking about another corruption case exposed in South Africa. I mean, we can't even keep track of this stuff. We can't even keep track. And these are the things we know about, ladies and gentlemen. I guarantee you that we just know a fraction of the fraud going on. They've become so sophisticated, so inebriated with stealing from the fiscus, stealing from South Africans, and they don't care if kids starve to death. They don't care if people die. They don't care. They've just become drunk with theft and power. And that's the bottom line there. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you about that. That's who they are. That's what they're all about. Your case agent yes phone asked if I arrived, and he got a notification I arrived. Oh, Varoshka, I thought it was my case. Okay, well, yeah, that's because, didn't you have a flight? Was it canceled? Yeah. President oil and gas exploration. Yeah, exactly. These morons, these rich, privileged, leftist, blue-haired Tawnies and, elites that live along the coast. Oh, you can't do that here. You'll frighten off the fish. Yeah, quit dumping your sewage into False Bay. That's why there's no damn penguins left and overfishing in False Bay. Damn penguins are dying off because you idiots. But you're out there protesting oil exploration 100 kilometers from shore, which has no impact on the penguins or the fish. Johan Opperman, well, you just have to use the email. If one of the mods could put the email up there. Okay. It was Fakila. That's what I thought, Charles. So true, like you say. It's only what we know about. Yeah. Doesn't sound like they get most of its fuel within Africa, like Nigeria or Angola. I'm not sure where South Africa is getting most of its oil right now. But I've never been able to prove that they actually get it from Iran, which is interesting. You think they would. No, it's a fair question. But the problem, Jaya, is that there's demand for oil coming from Angola, which goes primarily to China. There's demand for oil coming from Nigeria, which goes primarily to Europe. And they're sucking up more of that oil because there's none coming out of the Arabian Gulf. So when that oil is sucked up by those people who have money, those who don't have money in South Africa aren't going to be able to buy that oil. Plus, it's a lot further, it's a lot easier to get oil from the Niger Delta or offshore from Ghana, from the Jubilee field to Europe than it is to South Africa. There's more ships and it's more money there. So, yep. Did you see my WhatsApp? I did not, El Marie. Story about Rama. No, I did not see it. You can't commit treason against a political party. Well, I agree with you, Mark Myberg, but you need to conform the ANC of that. Fikini Mabuluda doesn't seem to understand the Constitution, Section 16 of the Bill of Rights, expropriation of compensation, Section 25. I know the Constitution far better than this clown does. Yeah, and his racist dog whistles are getting quite annoying. And his constant attacks on racial minorities. He always has to throw white in there. So we never say these black ANC members. We say ANC members. Yep. And by the way, when I talk about black supremacy, that's not just black folks. There's white folks that believe in that black supremacy too. Okay. Fuel is not that big a crisis. Fuel is not that big a crisis. It's fertilizer. Not really, Lawrence. Not really. Not really. Depends on your point of view. Fuel is a major crisis if we can't get fuel in America because most of our goods are delivered by semi-truck, not rail. Commodities are shipped by rail, coal and wheat and things like that, and oil and chemicals, but goods are shipped in trucks, and trucks are the lifeblood, tens of hundreds of thousands of semis driving across this country every day. And if we don't have fuel, that's a disaster. So, fertilizer is not an issue here in America right now. We've got plenty of fertilizer for the moment. Although planting season is upon us, it's that time. So that may be a problem that develops over the next couple months. But no, fuel is a bigger issue here in America at the moment, but not really an issue. It's like natural gas. We don't need any natural gas. We're the world's largest exporter of natural gas. The United States supplies 25% of liquefied natural gas to the world. The UAE provides 20%. That's 45% of the liquefied natural gas on the planet comes from two countries, one in the Arabian Gulf and the United States. We have a surplus of gas and we ship it around the world. Our gas is staying steady at about $3 per cubic meter, whatever it is, unit. It's about $3 per unit. Even though natural gas, liquefied natural gas prices are soaring in other parts of the world because they get this stuff from the Middle East, they can't get it anymore. We don't have the capacity to surge to make up 20% of the global supply. We can do some, but not 20%. So that's part of the challenge here. Is there a way to get in contact with you? People just post the email. There it is again. Why is my case so dodgy with status? It's not. Vodka model. It's not dodgy. What's dodgy is your understanding of the process. You don't understand the process, and I can't say that I understand everything in the process either. But I've worked with systems like this. Things go up, things go down. This gets open, a new avenue comes up, a new question comes up. This has to be redone. That has to be redone. You know, so someone checks a block and it changes the status, and someone else comes along who has another role in this and says, nope, no longer there. So until everything is green and you're approved, it's useless. So that's why I say people shouldn't have access to it. It's just an annoyance. It's not something useful. Well, good luck at your interview. Okay, not just your case. Ignore the portal. Yep. Sent me a WhatsApp, says Lana. Okay. Fair to say the demand will affect the price of fuel the most. Yeah, it depends on where you're at. Again, liquefied natural gas is a problem for some countries now because of what's happening. Thank you for your membership there. Is it Jan de Jong? Thank you, Jan de Jong, for becoming a member. Yeah, it's for administrative purposes, not for you. So why they gave people access to it, I don't understand. Cummins running an old engine off. Okay, Cummins is big engines. No raw materials for fertilizer, no gunpowder. Well, we've got raw materials for fertilizer. We've got raw materials for gunpowder. Are you talking about South Africa specifically? Farmers have choices, right? They don't have to source fertilizer. Since they can invest in regeneration, liquid and grain are made USA. Just have to relearn how to farm and invest in soil. That's a good point there, Shawnee. Absolutely. In fact, this over-reliance on petroleum-based fertilizers is devastating to the Mississippi Delta. It's devastating to Mississippi, Missouri watersheds as that stuff leaches off. It's overused on farms in the Midwest. It runs off. It goes into creeks and streams and rivers, goes downstream. And one of the reasons we get algae blooms in the Gulf of America is because of this nitrogen that fertilizes, that goes down there, and it causes I hear a drill. Causes algae blooms. It's the farming practices need to be improved in this country. We waste so much nitrogen. In fact, quite frankly, I'll be honest with you. You know, as if we had big sieves that would all the water from Mississippi at places downriver would go through a sieve, and there was some process to strip out the nitrogen from it. No way, they would get tons of nitrogen, and they would be able to reuse that stuff because it's all being wasted. If you follow my drift there, Shawnee, what do you think of what I just said? Do you believe that ANC is not taking? Good Lord, that was loud. Has not taken an interest in Palindaba. Why? Portal was iffy today, but eventually we could upload. Now we can ignore you. Packages, our food is shipped in, is also made using petroleum. Yeah, look, lipstick is made from petroleum. The plastic in this is made from petroleum right there. That's petroleum based. This clothing is made from petroleum. It's the recycled plastic here. And look, everything in your daily lives, medicine is made from petroleum. You can't live without it. And that's the problem. When petroleum does disappear, if it disappears, although the thing is that petroleum is being made by the earth every single day. The problem is it takes millions of years for it to become petroleum. And if we strip all those resources before new stuff is made, well, then we won't have it. You'll have to wait millions of years and life will evolve and change by then. Okay. Miss V, 50 Rand, thank you. Thank you for everything you do for us. Currently, you're a legend. Well, thank you. Yes, a legend. Thank you so much for that. My last document uploaded this morning. Now just waiting patiently, okay? All right. Sunny, but it's cold outside. Yes, it's still cold. A little warmer yesterday because the wind isn't blowing like it did yesterday, but it was blowing a few minutes ago, so, you know, nothing's perfect. Well, we just went from 360 people down to 315. What's going on? Where are you all disappearing to? Don Green, just cultural orientation left, okay? That's crazy. How did we just drop from 353 to 315? Come on, YouTube. Stop messing around. By the way, 197 likes. Come on, guys. Hit that like button. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. So I will be making another video about the effort to, unify South Africa, which is not what's going on. This, of course, I'm talking about the renaming campaign. The latest one is Graafrenet to Robert Sobukwe Town. I will be making a video about that. I've already made some notes about it. Just don't have time right now, but I'll make that. It depends on whether this gentleman shows up tonight. No, I don't know that they have any uranium there, so I'm not sure why you're talking about that. What's your take on the murder of the white lawyer? I don't know enough about it. It appears to be an assassination. It's pretty sad. but it's the Wild West. South Africa is a gangster land. The cops have no control of the country. The criminal justice system doesn't prosecute criminals. The only people they go after are, well, I won't say it, but anyway, they sure don't go after the politicians. If we're under review, do we still need to upload? Why are you uploading anything? You don't need to upload anything on the portal unless you're told to do it. I don't understand that question. If you're told to do it, then you do it. Why would you not do what they tell you to do? Yep. Yeah, so timing is of the essence. You need to fertilize before you plant. Yeah, I'm aware of that. But you're going into winter, and only certain parts of the country, like Mediterranean climates, are planting. We are in planting season. It's spring. So yeah, it matters here. There's a squirrel gnawing on a nut somewhere over here. I can hear him. It's like, where's he at? I think he's in that tree. He is just going to town on that nut. Can't find him, but I can hear him. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's just a squirrel. Who cares? Not like it's a let's book. No, Sasol makes it out of coal, but their capacity is limited. About 149,000 barrels per day is all they can pull off. Yes, I do think we could put in place a plan for having both plants and microorganisms along Mississippi to help filter out. Yeah. Yeah, well, plants too, but you got to be careful, Shawnee, because you have too much nitrogen, those plants go crazy. Do they only tell you to upload via email? I don't know the answer to that question. They can tell you online if they talk. Actually, I dropped my passport in a puddle within 5 minutes of completing our medicals. That's just crazy. You guys got to be careful stuff like that. German one is going to be interesting. What German thing, Chris Myberg? What are you talking about? What German thing? Not sure what that's all about. What German thing? Anyway, so yeah, so Darlene James from Action SA is taking a court case against Gate McKenzie. 35 rand for PC, man. Those have been thin and slow and far between super chats in this stream. How's it going? Well, it's okay. A little chilly out here. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Oh, here's an omen from Vroshka. Thank you, Colonel. I sent you an email. PSE. However funny, I'm concerned, but I also don't want to create unnecessary waves. Vroshka, I'll take a look at it. Any chance? No, I said the Danish election. Oh, Danish elections. Got you. Thank you. Chris, I missed that. Okay. We get oil from Angola and Nigeria. Yep. As far as I know, you do. Yep. That's people are saying you got it from Iran, but I've never found any proof that barrels were coming from Iran. I mean, the Chinese buy most of that. But most of the oil from Angola actually goes to China. Yep. Thank you for everything. You always keep us positive and help us be patient. Well, I try. Probably because you did everything and the portal shows 0. Same here. Or same. Okay. Now, again, stop worrying about the portal. All these questions about the portal, and no one here has an answer for you. So, one person tells you something, it may be true, it may not be true. I tell you something, it may be true, it may not be true. And the reason I say that is, that's one thing I can't tell you without feedback from the U.S. government because I can't access the portal. So I've never seen it. Well, thank you very much for that, Debbie Ackerman. Yeah, John's passing was kind of not a surprise, but still a big deal. I'd hope to see him one more time. But then, I knew last year that might be the last time I see him when I went to Howick last year. They call Howick God's waiting room, and with good reason. It's where a lot of South Africans go to live their final years. Yep. So the passing of John Tungay is a disappointment and sad, but a life well lived. And he accomplished so much for so many people. It's amazing. And blessed that was offered work, pays little, but it's a start. Now I can give, Vera Sequoia, you're already over here. How did I not realize that? Maybe I did already and I forgot. Yeah, so that's the thing. You got people who are picky. Well, I need to be the CEO of this. No, you don't. You don't have any money. You don't have any money. Your pride needs to go out the window. Go get yourself a job. Get a job. Make a little bit of money. Look for a new job once you have that job. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you think you're coming to America and you're doing your forever job, you are crazy. Americans are mobile. They tend to move. Very few people tend to stick with the same organization over time. You get something, you look for a better opportunity. True Caller works in the United States, Antoinette. What's going on here? Why can't I get that? Remove. Okay, there we go. All right. Hey, asshole. You're owned by stupidity. Nobody's owned by the Israelis. Piss off. Footsec. Yes, interviews are also slow, waiting 2 months already. Well, it depends. Not everybody's slow. James gave 70 Rand. Thank you. You're very welcome. My pleasure. Thanks for that. Yeah, so you little trolls can piss off in Footsec. No one asked you to come here. Go find something else to do. I reckon that I get States, hopefully soon, I'll start a car guard company. Well, why not? When my mom was dying in hospital, we knew she was dying. It was still shocked. Yeah, I got you, Meerkat. Well, same with my mom dying. Howick has a Dunlop plant utilizing water energy. The Germans built it. Okay, Garrett. I think I knew that. Not that they're using that technology, but that they were there. Charles, what's going on? So, yeah, Howick, God's waiting room. And in this case, it proved to be true with the passing of John Tungay. So, but 89, it's pretty good innings, right? Pretty good innings. You can't complain about that, right? Well, you complain, but who's listening, right? 243 likes. That's about 90 short of what the audience is. Can you guys not push that button and make it happen? I have to go back and do nug work here in a little bit. So I was writing a scenario earlier. You got to take real countries and break them into fictional countries and use real geography. Shane Chris, get awfully irritated. The Zionist war hawk surrounding Trump is nothing to worry about. No, that wasn't the topic of my chat. I don't appreciate people coming in and trolling and trying to disrupt the flow of what's going on here. So am I irritated? No, I just told you people that are acting like fools, you're not going to be tolerated. People are here for the news, not for your bullshit. You want to whine about Israel? Go somewhere else. This isn't an Israeli channel. Go to Emily Schrader's channel and whine about it there. Go to Ben Shapiro's channel, whine about it there. Go to Morning Shot, whine about it there. Don't whine about that stuff here. We're not talking about that. Stay on topic. First time I saw it was 94. The last time I saw it was in 2024. How things have fallen. Yeah, the first time I saw it was in 2022 or 2023. And what are the chances 6-day limit will give Trump is out? Well, I think it's pretty good. I think he's probably got that in mind. That's 6 weeks to 8 weeks. He's probably got it in mind. Of course, there's also the possibility that Trump could go rogue, like the Democrats are always claiming, and he just ignore the War Powers Act. But that would be a grave jeopardy to his presidency and also to the November elections. If Trump exceeds the War Powers Act authorization, then that's going to cause problems for Republicans. Yep. Okay. In this morning's interview with Biz News, Chris Sten asked me a question, which she knew the answer to already, and but I think she's just trying to be objective and say, "What about the U.S. administration? Did they not anticipate? Is things not going well?" And this and another. And I answered the question fully, but no, I don't think that's. I did come up with a couple of things that maybe are being overlooked. Did you ever go to Underberg in Drakensberg? I'm trying to remember. I've been all over the Drakensberg. Myself and family, 5, done with everything, waiting for interviews. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah. Well, congratulations. Yeah, interviews can be stressful for people. Well, I don't know the answer to that. Is President Trump in talks with Iran? He's not in talks with Iran, but Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff apparently are. But the Iranians deny it. So, whatever. I don't know what the truth is. The Iranians actually came up with a plausible reason why Trump would mislead people. They claim that Trump is doing to buy time to deploy troops, which isn't plausible. We can deploy troops at any time. We have total air dominance. And there's no Navy. But their other point was that Trump is doing it to reassure the energy markets so that oil doesn't soar. That's a plausible analysis. I don't think it's true, but it's plausible. Yeah, the Fisher trope. I said Ribbentrop. Yeah, Fisher trope. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's great, Garrett. Fisher trope principle. Yep. And they perfected. The Germans came up with in World War II, but the South Africans perfected because they couldn't get oil. Yep. And they got tons of coal. Botswana has tons of coal too. Zimbabwe has a fair amount of coal as well. Yep. Yep. There you go. So many people passing on condolences. Yeah. Well, I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. Ouchie. Century, hello to you. Yeah, people flying tonight, safe travels to them. It's a long journey to America. So I've done it many, many times back and forth between Atlanta and Joburg, Atlanta and Cape Town. So many times I've done it. Somebody left their readers out here, reading glasses yesterday. They were there. They're here today. They haven't collected them yet. Yeah, well, Charles, I mean, that's why I'm saying what they said seems plausible. Trump appears to be manipulating the markets by his announcement timings to ease the markets. Yeah, I think you may be right about that. That's a reasonable conclusion, and I can't refute it because it makes sense. I would hope not. Diamond mine, I'm working it soon to be affected by the diesel crisis, no doubt. What's refugee limit if there is one? There's no such thing as a limit. There's a goal, there's a projection, and this year's administration said for fiscal year 2026, which began 1 October, that the goal was 7,500 for the year. Now, people freak out and go, that's what? Well, 7,000 for South Africa, 500 for the rest of the planet. But the reality is the following, is that the only people who've come to the country thus far, with the exception of 3 Afghans who went to Colorado in November, have all been South African. So at the end of February, 3,158 people had come here. 3,155 in this fiscal year were South African. So as far as the cap, which is what people call the goal, you need to not stress over that. We have every year, it's a requirement under the law for the executive branch to inform Congress how many people they anticipate to come over. That's not a hard and fast rule. That's just what they have to tell Congress, because Congress can budget money in anticipation. That's, says, hang on a second. Oh, wow. Okay, so yeah, that's what that's all about. Yeah, so we exceed that cap a lot. Joe Biden, his ridiculous asinine failed foreign policy in Afghanistan by picking September 11th as an exit date, cowardly withdrew and compromised decades of work and put the lives of Afghan women and girls at risk and destroyed our foreign policy around the world. That idiot let 168,000 Afghans flood into our country, most of them didn't have any vetting whatsoever. And that all happened in one fiscal year. Well, actually carried over to the next fiscal year because it was August, September when this happened. It carried in October. Yeah, so that exceeded the cap for the year, just the Afghans. Then we took in 300,000 Ukrainians as refugees. What the hell? We're not boarding on Ukraine. That's Poland's job. That's Romania's job, not our job. And so we took in 300,000 Ukrainians here, and that's well beyond the cap. So y'all need to quit worrying about caps. First off, we haven't even come close to it. We are now October, November, December, January, February, March. We are halfway through the fiscal year. 6 of the 12 months. And in those 6 months, 3,155 have come over. So if we continue at this pace, that means by the end of the year, the 7,000 will be met. But we saw indications that the pace might be increasing, but the numbers don't match that. I think a lot of what people are telling us when they go to assembly areas and go on flights is embellished. They are misthinking or miscounting the number of refugees that are transiting with them when they come here. Because we have the official statistics from the government, it's 3,155 South Africans since October 1st. And of course, nobody came from October 1st until November 19th. So that doesn't count. Nobody came from December 18th till January 6th. That doesn't count. Nobody came, well, some people came in January, but nobody came from February 23rd until March 9th. You take out those couple months and we really only have 4 months and we've gotten 3,000. So close to almost 1,000 per month coming. So yeah, but we can handle a hell of a lot more than that. So anyway, I hope that answers that question. Go back and see what I missed. So there's no such limit. What rugby position do you think you would have played as a child if you had the opportunity? Well, I played left wing. I'm left-handed, and I have a much better ability to catch an overthrown pass by leaping with my left hand and pulling it in. Although in baseball, I use my right hand for my glove, so it's kind of weird. But I've played on the left wing, and I'm more comfortable there, running down the side. And of course, I know you move around the pitch, but that's where you start out. So left wing. This treason law may be intended to inhibit. Well, no, it's intended to frighten South Africans into submission. This is what totalitarian fascists do. They use the power of the government and the pulpit that the government has to intimidate and threaten their citizens. And that's what this is. It's a threat. Yeah, South Africa's in big trouble with us happening yet. See our first food riots next. That's possible, yeah. It's possible Trump's people are talking to an alternative to the theocracy leadership. Possibly. I don't know who they're talking to, Peter. Clever and shrewd way of controlling and maintaining the economic. Yeah, exactly. If he's doing it. Listening to the Colonel's my highlight of the day. Well, thank you, Angelique. Appreciate that. Monster board died in the Netherlands. Huh? Is that the chip company? What are you talking about? Appears to be on the verge of imploding due to this fuel crisis. Well, that's what I think, Charles. I think it's going to come sooner rather than later. Feeling that 5 steps are ahead. Trump is 5. Yep. Good day. My husband, Petrus, is visiting USA, so I'm just saying hi for him. Love your channel and your music. Well, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Be brave and safe journey for your husband. Trump raised the statue of Chris Columbus outside D.C. That's pretty cool. Finland took a shed load of Ukrainian refugees too, according to my buddy there. Yeah, I didn't know they took many of them. I knew they took some, but I didn't know they took many of them. The Russians also sent a bunch of illegal Africans and Middle Easterners into Finland. It was a disaster. Both parties need not overplay their hand. The U.S. have an off-ramp for destroying their military. Iran have one of proving they can affect global markets. Both can claim small wins. Well, I think if Trump followed my advice and special forces went into Napa the Air flights into Karg Island in the dead of night with night vision devices, and they captured all the technicians and set up a security perimeter and then flew in a Ranger battalion or a Marine battalion, a rifle battalion, then we would secure Karg Island and the Iranians would be up shit's creek. They wouldn't influence anything and their oil would go nowhere and China would be in desperate straits. That's what I think we should do. Trump doesn't want to put boots on the ground, but I would put them on Karg Island. You can defend it and they're not going to blow their stuff up. And if they do, they cut their own nose off to spite their face. You're right-handed, but shoot and take photos left-handed, carry my backpack my left, right. Yeah, that's interesting. Katie Hopkins documentary about South African farmers gets released. I didn't know she had one. Well, she hasn't been there recently. She's banned. Katie Hopkins can't come to South Africa, so how is she making a video? You're very welcome for everything. You're very welcome for that. Is that Fentas? I can't read that. I do. Fernet, and I do. I'm sorry. It's an Indian person because lefties make good left-wing players. Yep, I think so. I'm left-handed. I also was a good pitcher. I had a natural curveball that was wicked, and I also developed a underarm pitch, like Kent Tekulve used to pitch for Pittsburgh. He was right-handed, but I'm left-handed, and I can do a submarine pitch that came in low, and the ball rose up over the plate into the strike zone. It was really cool, hard to hit too. He'd be risking more American lives with midterms looming. I think he's being strategic. Yeah, but Jay, does he want to achieve his goals or does he want to pussyfoot around? I'm not about pussyfooting around. Americans can stomach casualties. We've already lost over a dozen soldiers, service members, and had 300 or so wounded. Most return to duty. So yeah, you want to pussyfoot around, and you want to obliterate this threat from Iran. Oh yeah, no, I'm very fast. Even the last time I played rugby. Last time I played rugby was in 2015, so 11 years ago. So I was 50 years old when I played rugby. 51 years old, something like that, in Djibouti, and I was still faster than the 20s and 30 something French soldiers and the others that were there playing. It's faster than almost everybody on the pitch, even at that age. Yep. That's why when I came back to the States and I went here to Pennsylvania, I contacted the Harrisburg Rugby Club and I told them about, I wanted to help. Can I help, if they need an assistant coach, do they need somebody to help raise funds? I'd like to get involved and help the rugby here. And they contacted me and asked me more about what I did. And I told them, and they're like, they said, well, we'd like you to play for our sevens team. I'm like, okay, wait a second. I may be fast for my age in 15s, but I'm not fast for sevens. Perry Baker, Carl Niles, and Sebatla Sanatla, they'd like go, and I'd be like, okay, guys, just go ahead. I'll watch you run. I'll be impressed by your running. No. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I ever had the speed of Perry Baker or Sebatla Sanatla. Those guys are they're speed demons. I mean, I was faster than most people around me, but being faster than most people around you doesn't necessarily mean you're fast. It's like being bigger than most people around you doesn't mean you're the biggest guy. Stormers beat Seattle Seawolves. What Stormers? What are you talking about? What Stormers? Oh, Cheslin Colby on the wing? No, I can't hit like Cheslin. Man, Cheslin Colby is just, that guy can hit. He can tackle. For his size too, Kurtley Arnsay hits pretty hard too. Is that a statement, El Marie, that Corney Mulder and Ron Posa have talked about USA? Or that they should? Of course, Seattle has it. They had a Seattle Seawolves. They were the first champions, first 2 years in the league. Yep. Seattle, Houston. Theirs is gone now. They don't have Houston anymore. We had a team in Colorado. We had one in DC. Oops. We had one in DC. Still, we had one in New York. So the league teams come and go, unfortunately. It's kind of a vanity project for some of the owners. Stormers played again. Yeah, but who played from the Stormers? They had a game on Sunday. How would they play Seattle? It must be their under 19s or something like that. What's the reason for the rift between the Army and Navy? There's no tiff between the Army. What are you talking about? No problem. My colleague is a retired Navy officer, and I'm a retired Army officer, and we're working fine. Handball. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that'd be like, South Africa's ice hockey team is coming anywhere into Europe or the United States or Canada. It would be destroyed. It'd be 36-0. Due to my height, I was a lock in high school, but when playing club, they put me on the wing because I was too quick for lock. Ended up right flank, which was that. There you go. There you go. Well, one of the positions I never played, but I mean, it would have probably been good when I was younger is inside or outside center. I think that would have been a good role for me. Kind of where they slot Damian Willemse in sometimes instead of at fullback. Yeah. And of course, Sasha can play fly half, wing, inside, outside center, fullback. He can play any of those, but he's locked in at the fly half right now. Yep. So anyway, played until I was 38. Today my body bears the brunts. Yeah, no, I got you. Well, I didn't start playing rugby when I was a kid. I played later. There was Curry Cup team. Yeah, well, that's not the Curry. That's the province name. See, this is the problem with the Stormers. This stupid idea to get rid of the province name, which is cultural theft. It's Western Province. It's not the Stormers, the Curry Cup level. This is BS. I've got a serious problem with that, and I'm going to take it up with Western Cape Rugby Union. They are just shameful in what they're doing here. And this stupid, infinity ring S nonsense. It looks like something from the LGBTQ plus community. I don't get the whole thing. It's stupid. I don't like it at all. Yeah, I know Western Province calls Stormers now, but not by me. It's still Western Province. See why? See the confusion we just had? I mean, how could they play a game on Sunday when they were playing against the Dragons and they're playing very poorly? Yeah, Stormers Development Squad, exactly. That was in Cape Town. Okay, that makes more sense too. Please investigate where Southern gets their fuel comes from. Well, I have investigated. It's hard to find. The data is difficult. I'll try with the Energy Information Agency again and see what they say. Time might be from... No, stop. No, there's no indication. There's no time. There's no average. There's no nothing. Stop gaming the system. It happens when it happens. If it's 2 weeks, it's 2 weeks. If it's 2 days, it's 2 days. If it's 5 months, it's 5 months. Stop. There's no average time. No, you're going to have 45 people give you different answers here because they'll have 45 different results. Forced to play goal in netball. Oh, you're a netball. So commentator's a lady. Paul for center. Okay. Stormers 13. Yep. Southern Ital country just played flank, then moved to Joe Berg and stopped playing. Okay. Motorcycle at 16 discovered girls, and that was the end of rugby. Cheslin at 57 is more likely is our super. Yeah, no, maybe Cheslin Coleman can do it at 50, but I'm not the guy to do it at 50. Not sevens, man. 15s, yeah, I was still playing 15s in my 50s. Yep. But I didn't start playing rugby until I was in my 30s. So, and I played it sparingly. So I didn't have all the niggles and nicks and bumps and bruises that people get playing rugby. So, and I was playing with this hip that's damaged and, didn't even know the hip was damaged. Still ran, still played softball, still just did everything up to that stage. So anyway, yeah. All right. So, yeah. So again, lots going on this week. I fly to Las Vegas on Friday. And fortunately, I'm flying for a small airport, so there shouldn't be a long queue with TSA. Democrats shutting down safety and endangering American lives with their nonsense, not funding the Homeland Security Department. We have lots of TSA agents working without pay. Shame on the Democrats. They're getting paid in Congress. I bet you if their paychecks were stopped, they'd squeal, especially AOC, who can't pay her bar bill. Yep. Anyway, so there you have it. No women to Joburg. Lost my mind. Yep. Hey, Braun Blonde. What's going on there, Blondie? Yeah, well, that's not till Friday, folks. A lot happened between now and then. I've got a volunteers meeting on Thursday at the Veterans Organization. I've got my radio show Wednesday night. I've got consulting through Thursday. Here come the ducks. Oh, it's two drakes chasing a hen. They're trying to get a little something. Yeah, these two males are fighting to inseminate that female. She's flying away. She didn't have anything to do with them. They're trying to knock her up. Two of them chasing her down. That was the mating of ducks. Three of them, two males chasing a female, man. They stopped over there further down the creek. I can't see where they're at because they're a little lower than the ground level. It dips over there. Yeah, they were running her down, man. They were chasing her big time. I hope Senator Kennedy gets his resolution. I'm not sure which resolution you're talking about. So fact that you need to cite persecution to claim refugee status would compromise treason according to standard. Yeah, look, there's no merit to this. If Fikele Mabalula is just being an ass. Oh, toast, 140 Rand. Well, thank you for that. Well, now we got a little super chat. Priorities right. Yep. Okay. Peking ducks. No, not Peking. Alrighty, guys, that's an hour. I need to get back in. That's all I can do. I'll chat with you later on. Thanks for being here. We'll do a Night Owls later tonight, okay? Thanks. Be sure to hit that like button. Got 328 likes. Some of you haven't hit it yet. Cheers. Oh, yeah, some privacy for the ducks. Cheers.